All right. El.
El.
Ha-Kohen. Ha-Kohen.
Ha-Kohen.
All right. Now, there are two words El in Hebrew. One means kind of like God, but it really means like powerful one. All right. And then the other one is this El. It means to or toward. You see here, brought to the Kohen. You can tell the difference between those two kinds of El because the El that means to or toward something, that El has a segol. And then the El that's translated as God has a sere, which are the two dots, like this vowel under the he. So when it's God, it's sere, and when it's to or toward, it's segol. Okay, let's do some halacha. Who wants to read the English?
Yeah. Can I read? Okay.
Go ahead.
And one. If so, what did Moses, our teacher, want to comprehend when he requested, please show me your glory? Exodus 13:8. He asked to know the truth of existence of the Holy One. Blessed be He, to the extent that it could be intimated within his mind.
Internalized.
Within his mind. As one knows a particular person whose face he saw and whose image has been engraved within one's heart. Thus, this person's identity is distinguished within one mind from that of other man. Similarly, Moses, our teacher, asked the extent of the Holy One, blessed be He distinguished in his mind from the
distinguished.
Distinguished. Okay, in his mind from the existence of other entities, to the extent that he would know the truth of his existence as it is in its own right.
Okay, so when Moses asked Hashem, when Moses asked God, show me your glory, Moses wasn't asking to see God's body, because we know God does not have a body. And God actually says this several times in Tanakh, in Torah as well. So what did it mean when it says Moses asked to see God's glory, and then Hashem showed him his quote unquote back? So we're going to see that when it says back, it's not the normal word for back. It's not gav. The normal physical word for back is gav. But the Torah doesn't say he saw his gav. It says he saw his ahorai. It says he saw his ahorai. And that's from a word that means something that comes behind you. So Rambam is saying that when Moses asked to see God's glory, he's not asking to see a body. He's asking to understand the truth, to comprehend the truth, how true it is, God's existence, to the extent that his human mind can comprehend. Because we cannot comprehend more than our mind is able. We are limited to our minds. Okay, someone new, someone else. Let's read. kaVOD.
Shall I read?
Yes, please, kaVOD. Go ahead.
He blessed me. He replied to him that it is not within the potentials of a living man, a creature of body and soul, to comprehend this matter in the entirety. Nevertheless, he blessed be. He revealed to Moses matter which no other man had known before him, nor would ever know afterward, until he was able to comprehend enough from the truth of his existence for the Holy One, blessed be, He to be distinguished in his mind from other entities as a person is distinguished from other men when one sees his back and knows the structure of his body and the manner in which he is clothed. This is adduced to by the verse Exodus 33:23. You shall see my back, but you shall not see my face.
Okay, so many times in the Torah, when people refer to God's face, they're not talking about a physical face. It's a idiom, a figure of speech to refer to the reality of God as he truly is. So God says, you cannot see my reality as I truly am, but you can see my quote unquote back. And again, we can see here in Hebrew, it's not the normal word for back, right? In fact, I'm not trying to be gross, but just so that you can understand that this does not mean back, well, you have to translate it with some word, otherwise there's nothing, right? But the word literally means what comes behind or what follows something. So to understand, it really does not mean back. One, in Hebrew, for the physical back, it's the word gav. If you have pen and paper, you can write down that word. Gav is back, G-A-V. This word, it so does not mean back that in modern Hebrew, they use this word it's a kind of a clean way of saying butt, B-U-T-T. So in Hebrew, you could say ahora shelo. So that refers to like one's back end or their butt. Here, it's a figure of speech. So it's referring to, yeah, you cannot know my panai, you cannot know my face, the reality of God as he truly is, but you can know the thing that comes after his existence. You can know the consequences of his existence, the things that follow the truth of his existence. So that's kind of like if you're walking in the sand and you see footprints in the sand, that is something that follows the reality of the person. But the footprints in the sand are not the person, but they tell you that that person exists. And it's kind of like a shadow also. So because of this, God said you can see, and when see in the Bible often means to comprehend or to understand, to perceive. It doesn't only mean to see physically with the eyes. Like if you ask someone, did you understand? They will say, I see, I see. Sometimes see is a expression for saying, I understand. Because ahorai can refer to things that come after thing or someone. So there are commentaries in Jewish tradition that say that basically when Moses was able to see God's ahora, his quote unquote back, what he saw was he understood all of existence, all of created existence, because all of creation is sort of like God's footprints in the sand, the whole thing of creation. So yes, Moses did not understand the fullness of God's truth. He didn't understand the full reality of God as he truly is, because that's not possible for created. But Moses, according to some commentaries, Moses did understand every consequence of God's existence, which would be all creation. So it was like Moses got super intelligent understanding of the universe. Okay, let's continue.
Yes.
Yeah. Since it has been clarified that he doesn't have a body or
Corporeal.
corporeal form, it is also clear that none of the functions of the body are appropriate to him. Neither connection nor separation, neither place nor measure, neither ascent nor descent, neither right nor left, neither front nor back, neither standing or sitting.
Okay, this is very important to know. And this is something that a lot of people, especially Christians, get confused about. So, as we mentioned last week, if we did not use metaphors, idioms, and figures of speech to talk about God, then it would be as if God does not exist. So, human speech, the limitations of human communication, requires that we use some figures of speech, some metaphors, right? And just for review, metaphor, idiom, figure of speech, symbolism, right?
Rabbi,
Yes, sir.
some people says that you are looking like a moon.
Correct. Like, yeah, to be romantic, right?
Yeah, you are looking like a star.
Yeah,
So it means not a person is a star or a moon.
correct.
It is a symbol.
Symbol, an idiom, a figure of speech.
Area, yeah, figure of
Okay.
speech. Yeah.
Now, even though when we say Hashem is sitting on his throne in heaven, like God is sitting on a big seat, or that Hashem descended to Mount Sinai, God came down to Mount Sinai, or that God is standing, even though all these things are figures of speech, they still have meaning. For example, when we say that Hashem is sitting on his throne, even though it's not literal, it doesn't mean God's actually on a chair in the sky, but it still means something. That, for example, would mean that Hashem is in control, like a king ruling over his country. He's in control. He is looking over our activities and judging. So sitting can mean being in control and judging. When it says that Hashem descended, like he descended to Mount Sinai, one of the things that can mean is that not that Hashem came out of the sky like a UFO, like an alien. I don't know if you've seen some sci-fi movie. So it's not that Hashem is an alien coming down out of the sky onto a mountain, but rather that Hashem is making knowledge of his existence be known. So he is revealing something about himself in a way that is lower or descended, like descending is to go lower. So he's revealing something about himself, but it's going to be lower than the truth or the reality that it is. Yeah, okay. So let's continue.
Is not found within time.
It's not born within time, so that he would possess a beginning and an end or age. He doesn't change, for there is nothing that can cause him to change.
Right, and if he changed, that would mean he is subjected to time. If Hashem changed, it would mean that time is greater than God. Right? But God created time, so he is not subject to time. He's not influenced by time. He's over time. Okay, let's do another one.
The concept of death is not applicable to him, nor is that of life within the context of physical life. The concept of foolishness is not applicable to him, nor is that of wisdom in terms of human wisdom.
Correct. So with humans, our knowledge, the knowledge of a person's wisdom, a person's skill, with humans, all of these things are distinct from the essence of the person himself. But with God, right, with a human, we acquire knowledge, we gain knowledge, we gain wisdom, we learn skills. So it's different from the person himself. It's something added to who we are, right? But with God, his wisdom and his existence is the same thing. It's not a different thing that was added onto him. So God and his knowledge is the same thing. It's not like parts. He doesn't have part wisdom and another part knowledge and another part being the king. It's all one and the same. But we have to use different words to express the ideas because human language is limited. Okay, let's get someone new to read.
Shall I?
Right?
Yes, let's get someone new.
Can I?
Go ahead. But kaVOD.
Neither sleep nor waking, neither anger nor laughter, neither joy nor sadness, neither silence nor speech in the human understanding of speech are appropriate terms with which to describe him. Our sages declared above there is no sitting or standing, separation or connection.
Okay. So, and again, some examples. When we say that Hashem we say Hashem is not asleep, right? He's not asleep. He's not a body. He does not get tired. But there are places in the Bible where it says like, awaken, O Lord, or God shall come, or there are places that it looks like, okay, if God is going to wake up, it means like he's asleep. The idea of sleep in reference to God would mean that his dominion, his kingship, it's not being obvious in the world. So when it's not obvious that God is in control, we say it's as if he's asleep, for example. But it doesn't mean he's asleep. There's a reason that God is not making the reality of his being king. There's a reason it's not obvious in the world. When we say that that God is silent, it's not that he's closing his mouth. It just means that something in creation is keeping us from hearing the truth of his existence. So for example, if there's a lot of violence, a lot of evil, then it's as if God is silent, because the reality of his existence, it's less obvious, less apparent. And when a human mind is more aware of God's reality, of the truth of his existence, then it's as if God is speaking. But the truth is that he's always quote unquote speaking, but not with the mouth. Speaking just means letting something be known. So we know from Tehillim that all the heavens, all of the universe declares his glory. So there's always speech, but sometimes when our ears are closed, it's as if he's silent. Okay, let's do one more. Someone new.
Shall I read?
Yes, please. kaVOD.
Since this is so, all such description and the like which are related in the Torah and the words of the prophets, all these are metaphor and imagery.
Symbolism.
For example,
yeah,
he
imagery
who
is like
sits
symbolism. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
he who sits in the heaven shall laugh. Psalm 2:4. They angered me with their impetus. Deuteronomy
Emptiness.
32. Emptiness. Deuteronomy 32:21. And as God rejoiced with regards to all such statements, our sages said, the Torah speaks in the language of man.
Okay. All right. So I wanted that we could also look at the laws on Passover, because Passover is coming up. Unfortunately, though, I have a meeting in about 30 minutes, so I will have to end it. But I can show you guys how you can find the laws of Passover. So if you're on the main part of Chabad's website, you go here on the top right, you can type in Mishneh Torah. Right, it comes up, click it. We're going to go to Sefer Zmanim. Zmanim means times. That's where we find the laws for the holidays. You want to go to Hametz u Matzah. That's leavened bread and unleavened bread. These are the laws of Passover, and you can read through them. It's 8 chapters. Some of it might be very detailed. A lot of times the beginning of the chapter will give a summary, and the end of the chapter might give you a summary. So that way you can maybe look through it more quickly. Just read the beginning and the ends of the chapters. I'll share a link on our WhatsApp group, and I will also send you a few videos from some rabbis who explain things regarding these laws, because many people in the Jewish community get very, very worried about hametz, about regular bread on Passover, so they go crazy in the cleaning. So I will share some videos to let you know what is necessary and what's not necessary, right? We don't need to buy 100 new dishes and plates and spoons and forks for Passover. You don't need to waste a lot of money. And you don't need to bring out a torch and fire and boiling water and put your whole kitchen in the mikveh. This is not necessary. Not necessary. All right, so please check out the information I will share with you on the WhatsApp group. And that's that. Does anyone have a question? I'll give like about 5 minutes for questions.